It's an honor to be here, and an appropriate, timely for me. And we're here gathered in the light of day, in a place of comfort and ceremony, and to remember tragedies that occurred in isolation. You know, here in this place, we're united in our desire to bring an end to unlawful, inconceivable practice of genocide. You know, joining me here today are people who have more than just an intellectual understanding, people whose lives are forever marked. Their ancestors, their communities have experienced things that, you know, God forbid the rest of us in this room will never have to experience. Ruth, who lost her parents in a German concentration camp, is president of the Houston Council of Jewish Holocaust Survivors and Second Generation. She's joined by fellow survivor Haya Verveer, who entered a concentration camp. I know she does not look a day old enough to do that, but 3 years old. She now serves as the president of Child Survivors of the Holocaust in Houston. And Susan Myers, executive director of the Holocaust Museum. Greg Phillipson, member of her board. For us here in Austin, Lisa Benjamin Goodgame, who's the Austin Community Director of the Anti-Defamation League. Thank you for being here. We're going to ceremonially sign a piece of legislation that is part of our collective effort to raise awareness of these inexplicable crimes against humanity. And three people who were very instrumental in making that happen: Senator Ellis, who could not be with us today, but Ellen Cohen and Elliot Nashdat, two very, very capable members of the Texas House of Representatives, are here with us today. This bill that they carried to completion is a very important statement of the values that we hold dear in the state, of respecting human life, valuing freedom for all men and women. It might surprise some folks that the Texas legislature has passed a bill relating to genocide, but we do so because these tragedies are not just history, but they happened in our lifetime. In fact, since more than 6 million Jews and 5 million others lost their lives in the Holocaust, our world has seen 4 major genocides, including the latest in Darfur this decade. So as we contemplate the millions of lives that have been lost, the challenges of those who survived, I'm reminded of the words of Elie Wiesel, who a survivor and a chronicler of the Holocaust. And I think we were together when he came and spoke at the Bass Museum a couple of years ago, and a powerful man. And he wrote that a destruction, an annihilation that only man can provoke, only man can prevent. So we may be thousands of miles away from the Sudan, but we did what we could to stand up for those criminals, or stand up against those criminals that are running that country. After the 80th legislative session in 2007, I was honored to sign a piece of legislation that called for Texas to pull all investment out of the Sudan, to exert pressure, yes, from a distance, but it's not a distance. It is right into their back doors. It's right into the banking system that they're using to fund their terrorism. Stopping a regime that, frankly, has lost their right to rule. So as we go forward, we're going to be compelled as a state to prevent future episodes. by casting the light of truth on their history and educating our citizens about what's going on in the world. Ultimately, that truth and the willingness to defend the vulnerable amongst us will lead to greater justice. And again, Weasel also said, just as despair can come to one only from other human beings, hope, too, can be given to one only by human beings. Here in Texas, this bill and this commission is our gift from this state to our world. And I would now like to ask Representative Cohen to say just a few words about this piece of legislation and her insights.
Thank you, Governor. Thank you all for being here today. Never forget and never again. These words are uttered and passed from one generation of Jews to another following the horrors of the Holocaust, where 6 million Jews and others were murdered and maimed. Never again. And yet it happened again in Cambodia, Rwanda, and Darfur, and in places we're only now beginning to hear about. To paraphrase Edmund Burke, the only way for evil to win is for good people to do nothing. It is with that in mind that I recognize the good people of the House and Senate and the actions of our governor in unanimously passing and signing this bill. What it means is that all communities, and particularly rural areas across Texas, will have the opportunity to learn about what can happen if people do not stand up to be counted. When we allow prejudice and bigotry against our neighbors to blind us to the fact that we are all brothers and sisters, irrespective of our religion, our color, our ethnicity, or our sexual orientation. That while we may take exception to the views of others, we can and must do so in a respectful and civil manner. This bill will help educate young people who will be the future leaders of the Chamber of Commerce, the school board, their Girl Scout troop, who will be the president of their class, captain of the debate team, a representative or a senator, the CEO of a nonprofit, or the CEO of a multi-million-dollar business, or a parent raising a child. It will help them lead in a manner that teaches respect and dignity for all, that will not allow the seeds of anti-Semitism, racism, misogyny, or homophobia to grow and eventually obscure the sunlight of compassion and love. Never again. Never again. For those words to resonate, we must see the world not as separate and apart, but as a part of a universal whole. In this room alone, we have Native and, in my case, I got here as fast as I could, Texans. We have people of different faiths and different life experiences, business people and community activists. But we are in this room together to say to the rest of this state, but more importantly to the rest of this country, that we are doing what we can so that never again is more than words, but a reality. Thank you.
Ellen, thank you. Elliot, have we signed any of yours? Have we signed any of yours this year? Great. I was hoping that would be here, but I was going to let you make that choice. Ruthie?
Yes.
And you're done. I'm not going to let you sign.
You don't have to sign. You just get to keep the pen.
You're not going to. That's your pen.
Yes.
The Secretary of State would look at that and go, "Now, who is that?"
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Governor.
This will be forever.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.